me welcome to the stage my dear friend, Matthew Bennett. Come on down, Matthew. No, come on, give it up for him. Have a seat, Matt. You get a microphone. Have a seat, bud. All right, have a seat. And I'm just going to chat with Matt. I'm going to have a Matt chat here for a second. And what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to his answers. Now, this is really impromptu. We talked a little bit about it, but this is not scripted or anything. But I want him to share with you from the heart, a little bit about what he's done and some of how he's done it. But I want you to listen to what he talks about. So, Matt, thank you for sharing the stage with me.
Thanks for having me.
And so would you share with us, because the first thing I talked about is that you've sold 5 freaking million books as an author, okay? Now, by the way, the chances of anybody selling any books at all as an author is extremely, extremely low. Extremely low. Anybody that's written a book, you know it, okay? So, Matt, would you tell us a little bit about your experience in becoming a best-selling author?
Sure. First of all, did it in very unconventional ways. Less than 200,000 books that I've ever sold were in bookstores. So people automatically say, oh, well, you sold them on the internet. There was no internet.
There was no internet back then. This is the olden days.
This is the late 80s.
Yeah.
And we were not selling on the internet. So we found our own way. But you want me to talk about how I even got into it?
Yes, please, yeah. Because this, and again, listen to what he says and how he came from that place, okay?
So I will do Evelyn Wood speed talking. I was working with California Special Olympics, and for 5.5 years, got to the point where I was a state commissioner. I was very, very busy with them, 20, 25 hours a week. And at some point, I just said, you know what? I'm spending all this time. It's great what I'm doing, but I got to make money and raise money and awareness. I can't just give this much.
And by the way, I'm sorry to stop you for a second. I want you to understand something about this individual as well. Understand what he was doing. Matthew has one of the biggest hearts of any human being I know. He volunteered. He was doing this stuff because he always wants to give back. He cares about other people. He wants to make other people's lives as well, better as well. And that was the reason he was contributing the way that he was. I just wanted them to be clear on that. Okay. Yeah.
I have a big spleen too, by the way. Abnormally
it's huge.
big.
Yes.
Fact is, I just really did say, I gotta make some money somehow and do good. So I looked at my skill set. I was a good writer. I was a very aggressive marketer, had a lot of energy, and I started looking around, went to a dinner, and swear this is a true story, went to a dinner with a friend of mine who owned a diagnostic obstetrical center. And he was there with an OBGYN, and they were talking about prenatal education in this country, how terrible our state is here. And I'm kind of following the conversation as best I can. And I started asking a bunch of questions. And the doctor said, that's great that you care, but there's nothing you can do about it. So help me. That was it. I just said, there's nothing I can do about it? Seriously? He goes, what could you do? I said, okay. So at that point, as a single guy with no medical background and no children, I did what almost everyone in that position does. I wrote a pregnancy guide. I created the maternal journal. And in case you're thinking, how in the world, why would anyone buy from you? I mean, you should have seen me back then. I had hair. I was like a bodybuilder guy. I was like the last guy on earth who should do a pregnancy guide. And that's exactly what I played, that card. And I said, now, I want to do good for charity. I want to do good for nonprofits. I went to the March of Dimes, Campaign for Healthier Babies, and I started raising money for them like crazy. I could tell a lot of stories, but the bottom line is I raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for them, legit, in some pretty wacky ways. And raised all this money for them, got to the point and said, I'm going to do this guide. You can have editorial license over it to make sure I don't say anything you don't want to say, but I want your logo on my cover. And they had never put their logo on anybody's written material before. I was their volunteer of the year 2 years in a row. They kind of had to say yes. So they did. And now I'm this bachelor guy who doesn't seem like you should be doing a pregnancy guide, who has the endorsement of the #1 preeminent educational organization in the world for prenatal education. It's a good combination. It's very sellable. It's a big hook, as I like to say. Once I had them, forget it. National Parenting Center, American Diabetes, all these nonprofits.
Dominoes started
just
happening.
showing
Yeah,
up.
Wait, stop for a second. Would you repeat what you just said? They started what?
Just showing up.
Remember that, kids. They started showing up, and there's a reason why, okay? He said a couple, I'm going to go back over what he said, but he's given you the answer to that question I had before. Why do so many people fall by the wayside when megapreneurs excel? Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, it took us 3 years to create this book. The self-publishing was at the very forefront in 1988, and we worked so hard. I mean, it was crazy, and I'm terrible at tech. To this day, I'm still not very good. So it was an amazing undertaking, and you just wanted to quit almost every day, definitely every week. You just want to throw up your hands and say, how are we going to do this? But we just kept going, and we just kept pushing. And eventually, we broke the maternal journal, and then we said, as long as that worked, why don't we do, and since I don't have kids, and that's perfect, why don't we do puppy and kitten journals, since I didn't have a pet at the time. Now I'm married, I've got 2 rescue dogs, everything's different now. And you can tell everything's different now. But bottom line is, we just forged forward. Now we got the American Veterinary Medical Foundation. We raised money for them, and we got VCA, which you're probably familiar with from being in California. We got them to distribute the book for us.
So I'm sorry to cut you off. You had a formula that you created that happened, and stuff started to show up.
Yeah, we
Okay.
figured it worked once.
So remember what I said before. I said that entrepreneurs, they're not only, they excel at that area that they choose in that moment, but they have a system, and wherever they go, they apply that system, and they become megapreneurs in that as well. Share with us some of the other things that, as I said before, that you've done, that you've excelled in.
Sure. I mean, after we did 6 different books with numerous different charities and literally raised millions of dollars, at the same time, I was developing an insurance brokerage firm. I just looked around and said, who makes the most money and does the least amount of work?
Listen.
I mean, that probably sounds terrible, but that is what I did. I just said, wow, this is amazing how much these guys get paid when they do high-level life insurance. So I applied the exact same principles. Both these companies have had for over 30 years, by the way. Exact same principles, exact same habits, and just kept going. And just said, okay, it worked there. I'm going to do the same pattern for the insurance. And sure enough, I don't want to talk about myself like that, but
You're here to talk about yourself. Okay.
we did well.
Yeah, okay.
We did really well.
Tell it, and this is more also through time. Tell them about real estate, what you did in real estate. And by the way, all of these areas are levels or areas that most people fail at. I shouldn't say fail at, but never reach those high levels.
So, and by the way, all along, and I'm going to probably wind up repeating this, but I was getting great advice from somebody who was helping me. And when I get up against the wall and can't figure out what to do, which was plenty, I would turn to Joseph. And I'm proud to say sometimes he turned to me too.
Absolutely, no
But
doubt, no doubt.
I'd turn to Joseph and just say, now what? What do I do? How do I get through this? And, again, sometimes you just feel like you can't take it anymore. Well, with the real estate, I just said, you know what? I like this passive income I'm getting from the life insurance and the books. This is pretty good. And I tried my hand at network marketing. I was good at it, but it wasn't really for me personally. I know a lot of people do great at it. And I said, how else am I going to make passive income? So I started looking around. Who's making the most, and how are they doing it? I could buy fancy houses, or I could buy low-income houses. I think I'll buy low-income houses. So I just started buying up low-income houses. There's, again, a lot to the story, but the bottom line is my wife and I now own 25 properties, and 17 of them have no mortgages on them. So we only have 8 mortgages.
Now, you would think that a guy like this, he still gets passive income from his books, his real estate, and life insurance. You would think that'd be enough, right? He's a megapreneur. No, because it's not about the money. And as I said before, the reason I shared with you that this man is such a giver, this man volunteers, since I've known him, that's been his credo, is how can I make a difference? How can I give back? How can I make other people's lives as well? But you would think at this level, and Matthew and I were talking a couple of days ago, and we were having we actually stopped in the middle of conversation in what I call rich guy problems. Because he was telling me, well, I don't know whether we're going to sell the house that we're living here in Seattle and move somewhere and build another house, or should I buy another house here? It's like, dude, So having said that, as successful as you are, you and your wife just started another business, correct?
We did. My wife retired quite a number of years ago she had been a dental hygienist, and she had a great career, but she, enough was enough, and we kind of weaned her from working as hard as she was down to just a few days a week, and then I said, I think it's time. I mean, haven't you had enough of looking in people's mouths? And so she retired, and she was looking for something new to do. I found an opportunity, and it's really interesting, actually, because it's going way better than I thought it would so quickly. We only opened a few months ago. It's called Help Your Diabetes. And we have this company that 100% guarantees it can reverse type 2 diabetes. 100% guarantee, money back plus $500 if it doesn't work. Fact is, I'll tell you a secret, it works. Now, people have to do it, though. And it's the guy who founded it, the doctor who founded it, he comes right out and says, if you don't want to give up your bread and your pizza and your alcohol, forget it. You're in the wrong place. Go, leave. Don't even try this, because you won't make it. But I'm telling you, the results are freakish. And you talk about changing people's lives. My wife is now coming back to me every day. She's showing me reports. Look at this. This person lost 18 pounds. Can you believe it? Look at this person's insulin level. Oh, my God. They were on insulin. Now they're already off. They've only been doing this 3 weeks. Oh, she's so hyped up about it. And she's like a little hummingbird anyway. She's just like flits around, and she's always on the move. And she's loving it, because we are.
So what has happened to your business in terms of business?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Facts are facts. And again, this didn't check all my boxes. I wasn't sure about this as a business. I love the idea behind it. But we're number one chain. We're the number one location in the chain for the month of August. We were the highest yielding.
How many, 2-3 months ago?
Yeah, less than 3 months ago.
So by applying the same principles, by applying the same thing that he's done through time, that made him a megapreneur through time, everything that he does, and I mean everything, I'm going to tell you, he's going to tell you his saying, and I want you to listen to this. Everything that he does, he just applies the same thing and becomes a megapreneur. So Matthew, you have a belief about yourself and about money and about business. Would you share with everybody the saying that you told me the other day?
Basically, I just find I fall ass backwards into money.
Write that down. Everybody write it down.
But I used to think it was luck. I did. I actually used to think it was luck. I was just like, I guess, I don't know, good karma, whatever. I'm not sure, but somehow it just keeps happening, even when I don't think it's going to happen. But what I have learned is it's habits. It's just habits. And people think, what do you work 80 hours a week? What are you killing yourself? I swear to you, it's not even close to true. I work out, my wife and I travel, we do lots of stuff outside. My schedule's not that crazy. I manage time well, and the people I work with are very competent.
I can't tell you how many times this guy has called me up and going, I got to do something. I want to do something. I'm wasting my time. I don't do, that kind of thing. So I want you to write his saying down. Everybody write this down. I fall ass backwards into money. Okay? That's the way his belief about himself. Remember what I said before, your belief about yourself, about other people, and about the world around you. The most important is your belief about yourself. And that is his belief about himself. We're going to dig deeper into that. I'm going to bring Matthew back on stage here in a little bit later today. But I want you to get that this man, raise your hand if you would agree with this, that this man fits the description of a megapreneur, okay? Not only has he been mega successful in everything that he does, in the things that he's chosen to do, but everything that he does, he said it, and I'm here to tell you as well. He just does the same thing over and over again. And he said it, and we're going to dissect it. Matthew, thank you so much. Okay, we'll bring him back up. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Matthew Bennett. Awesome, man. Thanks. Okay. Now give him a real hand. Come on.